with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Say you don't want this heart, boy, it's already broke. Told me everything she touched just goes up in smoke.
Welcome to OverDrive. We're live on TSN 4 and 5, the TSN app, TSN 1050, live on YouTube, and soon up on Crave. Mark Rowe in for Brian Hayes, alongside two guys who I don't get to work enough with. Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star, although this is a bit of an annual tradition, you and I in the middle of July. This is kind of our week. You know, we dominate this week.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, right?
And
if there's a week to dominate, it's this week.
Yeah, and OverDrive Reddit hates it.
Right. Oh, you read those comments.
AK got me into it. AK's been making a lot of forays into OverDrive.
Maybe it's
Reddit.
AK making those comments.
He may be. Could be
Big burner guy.
It's burner Reddit accounts.
And it's a thrill to be in the same room as Keegan Matheson
Finally.
from MLB.com, who I've had probably a dozen conversations with, but never in the same room.
It's amazing how often this is happening for me now, guys. Now that I'm coming in studio a bit more, there's people, even if I'm seeing Sarah or Hedger initially on the TV side, we've had hundreds of talks.
Yeah.
But I remember when I came in first last year with Hayes and the boys, and they said, Keegs, I thought you were shorter. Now, number one, kind of felt like a dig.
Yeah.
Number two, I'm not a small guy. If I was shorter, the proportions would be horrific.
Right.
But no, it's good to be in here, fellas. Good to be back. One more day away from baseball.
Right.
I feel at peace. Even though we just got a baseball schedule for next year, I'm not ready to acknowledge that yet.
Yeah, what's the deal? You got to step all over the NHL's
Right?
toes?
Can't let hockey have a few hours, but normally, fellas, I'd be at home tonight booking out the hotels for the rest of the year. That's my real passion in this job. You know, which I know everyone likes to hear about, but I might let that one simmer for a little bit.
Like the amount of points that you have when you enter an airport, do they say, everyone move to the side, Keegan Matheson's coming?
Get out of here.
Get over here.
I'm a little better with hotels. Like, if and when I get laid off tomorrow or the next day, I'll just live in a hotel for a while.
Right. You got a whole year. Of
Why
staying
not?
At
Yeah.
Fill in the blank.
I'm
of
at least
hotel.
wealthy in one realm of my life, which is points.
Okay.
Well, I found it odd that the Major League Baseball schedule for next year came out today. But how much of that do you think, Keegan, is them sort of saying, oh, we're going to play baseball, right?
It's happening.
Just trust us. We're going to play baseball. And yet a lot of us who've been following the beat of the drum of labor unrest would suggest maybe they won't start when they say they're going to start.
Yeah, I'm hoping that those hotel bookings are useful, fellas. I don't know. It's especially around the All-Star game. I feel like it's coming up a lot more with players. They're being asked about it. You've got all the big names in one place. You're going to hear the Mike Trouts, the Bryce Harpers talking about it. These guys who have a lot of union pull. I hope we don't go down that road, guys. Like, baseball's hot right now. I know it's my job to say that. I don't care. Like, baseball's in a hot spot right now. You know, you're coming off one of the best World Series we've seen in a long damn time. It's hot right now, and to lose that would be such a big loss for the momentum of this sport. You know, we always talk about getting young people, more people into baseball. They're here. They're here, man.
Well, and we're going to talk to ESPN's Tim Kirchin at 5:05 to talk about just how hot the sport is. And even in this market, and I think, you know, we still have the ramifications of what happened last fall seeping into this year, and the belief that you have in otherwise what has been a very mediocre season. And the American League, and speaking of being mediocre, is helping a lot. But everyone in this city wants them to be buyers. Everyone wants them just to get in. And then you have that belief where this core knows what to do in the fall. Vladdy is a better player in the playoffs, all that kind of stuff. I think in your article, I think it was Kevin Gossman said it's make or break time like this week.
Sure is.
You know, and if they don't get off to a good start in the unofficial second half of the season, I don't know if they'll ever be sellers, but they certainly won't be the aggressive buyers that the fan base wants them to be.
Yeah, sitting in the middle is maybe the worst place to be. Oh. You know, I want an identity. I want a decision at the trade deadline. And sellers, I mean, my God, when you got 40K people in the house each night, good luck selling and good luck telling that to all of the millions of people who jumped on this team a year ago. We're actually going to pull back.
Right.
Pull the parachute because there's a bunch of teams a half game ahead of us. Good luck with that. But, man, 66 games left, I think 16 until the trade deadline. You got to figure yourself out real quick here, fellas.
And yet, you know, we've been saying that for a while, and as bad as they've been and as many negative storylines as there are, I mean, the fact remains you're 2.5 games out of the last wild card, right?
Yeah.
And the last wild card is a sub-500 record right now. So could it be one of those one-off years where you don't even have to be that good. You've got to have like
Get in.
one good 3-week stretch, one good month basically to push yourself back into that spot and hold it.
Yeah.
I feel like these standings are making me like start an argument against the third wild card spot. I say this as a man who does not own a team and does not make money off of the extra wild card game.
Right.
But I mean, part of me just wants to go back to the 80s where you've got to win the league to get into the playoffs. Come on, it's a sub 500 team in the playoffs doesn't feel like baseball to me. You got to win more games than
Feels
you
a little
lose.
bit like the East Division in the CFL.
There you go. There
Flip
you
in
go.
a couple games below, right?
Right.
But I mean, I hate that that's the argument for the Jays right now, that everyone else sucks. Because
But it is.
It's all they've got left.
Yeah.
And I go back to the start of this season, guys. Like, I feel like the goalposts have been moved, and I refuse to move goalposts. I hate it. Because back to the start of this season, this is a World Series contender.
For sure.
You're trying to win the division. Like we saw last year, the value of winning the division. You get to settle down into a series and exhale a bit and really sink into it. We've seen what happens in the wild card. They went 0-2, 0-2, and 0-2 in 0-1, 0-2, and 0-3. That doesn't work. You got to take a run at the division. They are a million miles from that. They're not touching the Rays. But if they can sneak in, only the Rays scare me. The Yankees, I don't think they're as hot as they once were. The rest of these standings, it's not scary. It's not what you're looking at that's scary. Sneak in, see what kind of mess you can make. And unless the next week is a complete upside-down disaster, can't sell.
Yeah. In a normal year, when you're like 5 games out, 6 games out, then suddenly it makes your life a little easier that way. But that's what's going to keep them in. And looking forward to seeing them back in action Friday against the White Sox and then the Rays. So those are, the Rays are always, doesn't matter.
The
We used to
good
say,
White Sox. They're winning
that's what I'm
baseball
saying.
games
Like
now.
usually,
Wild.
if you looked at the schedule back in April, you said, well, at least we can ease our way into the second half by playing the White Sox. That could be your AL Central division leaders by the end of
Good
the
luck.
year.
The new powerhouse.
So, again, Tim Kirchin's going to join us at the 5 o'clock hour. Nick Robertson, the former Maple Leaf, is going to join us at 4:30. The Nick Robertson revenge game, we now know, will be on January 16th when the Penguins play at Toronto. And, Dave, it's the reaction from Leaf fans about the schedule is not, oh, we're playing Colorado on a Tuesday night. It's, oh, Morgan Riley's face is on this thing. I guess he's on the team this season.
It's feeling that way, isn't it? Against all odds,
Right.
Because I mean, everybody from the agent community to the Real Housewives of Rosedale. I mean, we're telling you, Morgan Riley's not going to be living here anymore. He's he's putting his house up for sale. He's as good as gone. As far as I know, his house is not up for sale, and as far as I know, he's still a member of the Maple Leafs, and that's not changing. He's on that picture with that schedule. He was on the one they put out the day before that with 10 players. He was among them to announce the home opener. So, the social media department at Maple Leafs Central is either really cheeky and trying to have some fun with something they don't know anything about, or the Leafs are trying to send a message here that the longest-serving Leaf is still a part of this team and will be for the foreseeable future.
And we're not trading him for a 5th-round pick, right?
Well,
because that might be their best offer right now.
Well, it's like Keegan, you know this from, it's like you can trade guys that you feel need a change of scenery, right? And sometimes there is an argument to be made for that. And I think Morgan Riley may well benefit in the long run from a change of scenery after putting in so much, so many quality years with the Maple Leafs and then a couple of not so quality ones of late. But you can't just give guys away, right? No. And just selling low, which is what they'd be doing right now. I mean, clearly the if they could have sold him for something, substantial that would actually further the cause of making this team better and maybe a little younger on the blue line, because they clearly need to get younger on the blue line. And Morgan Riley is one of those guys. 6 of the 7 guys they've got right now are north of 30, and some of them well north of 30. Morgan Riley is one of those guys. But if they could have done that, I'm sure they would have done that by now. And clearly they are not having much luck doing that. But Keegan, to give a guy away is never a smart move.
At an all-time low value. And his contract does not expire next week. I know there are reasons these conversations are happening right now, but I'm curious to see how he fits in a new system with a new coach. Has he lost a step, or will that help him get it back? Is this an age thing? Is it a fit thing? And I think it still matters, guys, how long he's been around. Like, I was reading your story today, David. I didn't know how many games this guy had played with the Leafs. He has snuck up that list so quickly. He's a guy that if he played, what would it be, 2.5, 3 more years with the Leafs, you're talking about their all-time leading games played guy, which is stunning to me. Being around that long, and I understand that the D-core is getting older when you look at, Ekman Larsson, what's he, 36 at this point? Tanev's up there, McCabe's up there. You need to get younger fast somehow, but it reminds me of the Matthew Nyes conversation. Not to that extent quite, but when we keep talking about Matthew Nyes, and I say, why are we talking about this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just because he's a tradable guy, we don't need to be playing a video game with this and just trading the tradable guy. There needs to be value on the other end of that. If you can get younger and better defensively, fantastic. But I'm curious to see if a new system, if a new coach helps him get back to that mobile, that athletic defenseman that was so special when he was in his 20s.
Well, I compare it to the situation last summer with Mitch Marner. Yep. And so much of the fan base, despite the fact that he was a really good player for the Maple Leafs, wanted him out of town. And a lot of that was just how he carried himself. And in fairness, how he carried himself in front of the media, because you'll never really know what he's like in the room. And you hear all these great stories about he's the ultimate teammate, and Craig Berube is going to bat for him recently. And for Morgan Rielly, it's the opposite in the way of the fan base, where they'll look at all the defensive deficiencies in his game and how it's like, you can't bring that guy back. Like, he's a disaster. But he's been a professional from day one. Like, of all those losses, and there's a lot of them, he seems to be the most accountable guy. Mm-hmm. And that goes a long way in the city. They don't obviously want them to be constantly talking about why they're losing, but Austin Matthews, after the Florida Panthers loss, said there were a lot of passengers out there, and left it at that.
Didn't point at his own
say,
chest.
It started with me as the captain.
Right.
But Morgan Rielly will often be like, we got to be better, and it starts with me.
He insinuated he was driving, essentially.
Yeah, I guess so.
Morgan Riley's been the adult.
Yeah.
Which I'm learning more and more, being around pro sports, is a very high compliment. Being the adult in the room, handling things in an adult way. You don't need to be the smartest, most mature person of all time, but just handling it like a functioning adult.
Yeah.
And when your team loses, look at it and say, hey, this sucked. This is why. Let's talk about it. Suddenly, when you handle things that way, the big, mean Toronto media,
right,
like, just hitmen here, get a little
You're pointing at
less
Fezchuk.
scary, That real scary Toronto media suddenly becomes a bit more reasonable. I don't think the problem is all on that side of things.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think, and look, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Keegan. When it comes to the way we're viewing Morgan Rielly right now, we're viewing him through the lens of 2 years under Craig Berube. Yeah. And if there was a guy who just did not fit with Craig Berube right from the beginning,
right,
and was very open about it, was very, spoke about it on numerous occasions with the mean old Toronto media about how, he was, Craig Berube had tried to, get him to take risk out of his game. And he was a, risk first player. He was a go for it kind of guy. And suddenly he was caught in between. Oh, am I supposed to be more defensive? And now I'm not getting any offense. And where do I find my niche in a Craig Berube dump and chase north system? It wasn't easy for him, and it never really worked. Let's be honest. It was 2 seasons of relative misery for him, and 2 of his least productive seasons. And he tried hard. I think Berube tried hard too. It was just, they're both good people. They both tried to communicate what they needed from each other, and it never really worked. So I do think, first of all, why would you sell him after 2 of those seasons, right? It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. It never did. And 2, why don't you see what happens? I'm not saying Jim Hiller is going to turn him into the second coming of Bobby Orr. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying maybe it'll be different with a different coach and a different emphasis. And that could in itself, if you're looking to get out from under that deal, hey, how about 1 year of reclamation under Jim Hiller? Then look at moving that deal, which obviously right now has 4 years pending at $7 million plus.
Right. And with each year, that contract gets a little better because the salary cap keeps going up. And up. And so it's paying $7 million. If he can add 15 points than he had the last couple of seasons, maybe that's the case. If Morgan Rielly ever leaves the Maple Leafs and then returns to Toronto, I think he gets a standing ovation. The same will not be held on October 21st in Ottawa when Brady Tkachuk returns to the nation's capital as a Florida Panther. That is going to be wild. That was one of the dates that everyone had circled.
Oh yeah. So. And rightly so. You can sort of put it any way you want. I mean, there are bad feelings in Ottawa for a lot of different reasons. I mean, it's been a tough summer for Senators fans, right? You lose your captain in a trade where you're never going to win.
No.
Then you lose your all-time legend, Hall of Famer Daniel Alfredson says, you know what, I'm going to go coach the team that used to throttle us in the Battle of Ontario. I'm not sure how much it could get worse, really. And there's really not a lot. Like, I'm not sure exactly how you paint that in a really positive light for the Senators, other than maybe you're hoping that there's, some sort of Ewing theory where you get better by subtraction. I don't see it. I could be proven wrong. So there will be bitter feelings when he shows up, anytime he shows up, and I understand why.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that day.
Right,
that's going to be great. Like I'm more of a hockey casual. I'm here for the drama.
Yeah,
I'm here for the fun.
It's the fun.
A day like that will make me turn on my TV to watch the good people of Ottawa feed this guy, and they will. Maybe he'll release a podcast before the game to explain it all, talking about not handling things like an adult. I think that the market of Ottawa matters here so much too, because this is in Ottawa. When I think of what Senators fans have had the last 25, 30 years, up until, unfortunately, recently, they had the great loyalty of Daniel Alfredson. And I don't think people can be too hard on him now. But you look down through, like, Chris Phillips, Chris Neal, like these guys who were there for 1,000 games and stayed loyal to that franchise. This is a guy who had every opportunity, probably, to be one of, if not the greatest Senators of all time, who played really damn good hockey with his middle finger up. Like, it wasn't just skilled hockey. It was tough hockey. It was edgy hockey that fans loved. He had this pathway to being their great Senator, and he chose to be another Panther. Yeah. And the way he did it with his dumb podcasts that gotta stop, and with saying that the media had become a distraction. I mean, if Toronto media is scary, look out. Don't go to Ottawa. I mean, it's these players who continue to point that finger. I don't point it right back, but I just offer a bit of a response to say, have you brought some of it on yourself? Yeah. With these podcasts, with your dad and your brother in the basement, and with what you're saying publicly to the media and to a fan base, man, that I hope comes out on the right side of this. Whether they stumble into it or find their way into it by skill, I hope they find their next star out of this, out of the picks, out of the trade for number 9 there. It's just a fan base that deserved better.
Well, you look, I mean, the loudmouth dad problem in the Tkachuk family, it depends how you handle it, right? Like, Keith Tkachuk came on this station in the lead up to the Panthers going to 3 straight Cup finals and called the Panthers a soft team publicly, on this station.
Which was the biggest mistake for this market because they turned it around after
Turned him into a machine. Turned him into a wrecking ball that was absolutely unbeatable in the East until Barkov got hurt last year. And they're probably going to be back and, awfully scary this year with Barkov back and Brady Tkachuk joining the squad. And who knows what's going to go on with their goaltending. I'm not sure about that one. The Leaf fans are hoping they made a mistake letting go of Sergei Bobrovsky, but we will find out if Markstrom can be a reasonable facsimile of a playoff goalie. But, how you handle it is important. I don't think Keith Tkachuk's remarks really made much of a dent in Florida. And if they did, it was probably a lot of guys going, yeah, he's probably a little bit right. Like we probably could be a little less soft. We probably could play a little more like the kind of hockey that Paul Maurice is asking us to play. And what do you know? They did. They went and did it. And all the stuff that went on in Ottawa with all the divisiveness in that locker room. I mean, we'll never really know, but it clearly wasn't handled in the same way. It didn't roll off the backs in the same way as maybe you would hope it would if everybody is being adults, to use your great term, because I do think that's half the battle. Like, it's about maturity. It's about accepting truth telling. And I think, Keith Tkachuk's a truth teller, and some people don't want to hear it.
Yeah. So again, that's October 21st. So they get out of the way really early in the season with Tkachuk going back to Ottawa. Bruce Boudreau is also going to join us at 5:30. So we'll get his thoughts on everything that's going on in the National Hockey League. The NBA, we're waiting on the Kawhi situation and when that investigation wraps up. And we're also waiting on LeBron James. Like, if the decision in 2010, your interest level was a 10 out of 10, what is it now at this stage of LeBron's career and your interest in him deciding where he's going next?
Well, I'm not tracking where Jim Gray is.
No,
every 5
We're not going to the Boys and Girls Club in Cleveland.
No, I don't have a Jim Gray tracker on right now. I mean, it's just I think people are like, they're throwing up their hands, going, just let us know, pal.
Yeah.
No one. like you're not that good anymore. You're still obviously you're an all-time great, but I think LeBron believes he can kind of shift the balance of power in the NBA like he used to be able to. I don't know if he can really do that anymore. Obviously, he can definitely improve a basketball team, whether it's going to be Philly, whether it's going to be Miami, whether it's going to be Cleveland. We're not sure. He hasn't given us a lot of hints. Everybody's got a theory. It could be Golden State for all we know. But, I think that whatever team gets him will be better for it. But it's not make or break like it used to be. It's not like the whole league has to gang up or figure out ways to beat this guy anymore. Those days are long behind him. So it would be nice if, he just let us know where he was heading. But LeBron understands one thing. And I do think, like, the NHL players are starting to understand it. Like, we live in an attention economy. And the more you can command attention, which is what he's doing right now, the bigger it is for you. Like, it's valuable to you to command attention, whether it's negative, positive, exasperated, whatever it is. LeBron knows how to do it better than almost any of his peers. And there's a reason why he's a billion-dollar athlete. He's the king of the zeitgeist. Right? Like he can, as you point out, it's not as if he's a bench player, but you look at the stars of this league, and we still talk way more about LeBron than we do about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. A lot of that has to do with the market that they play in, but he still moves the needle. And Steve Kerr is going up to red lights and pulling down his window and saying, "We got him, we got him," because It is the talk of the league, regardless.
LeBron's on stage today saying, "Oh, I've heard people saying the Heat. I've heard them saying he's name searching. He's on top of this.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he loves it. I'm curious how it comes out.
Yeah.
We had the decision in 2010, 2014, I think, came out with that SI story, like, I'm coming home.
Right.
This big thing. I think after that, it was the very formal stage press release. I'm going to the Lakers. LeBron does not get scooped, I don't think. This is going to happen how he wants it to happen. And I'm fascinated by a guy like, all of the reporting is that LeBron wants to be happy. And if I had LeBron's money, I'd be very happy. I'd complain way less than I complain currently. But do you want to go home and have this storybook in Cleveland? Do you want to go be the guy playing with Steph Curry and try to do it? Which, to me, would just, I feel like I'd look back in 25 years at a picture of LeBron in a Golden State jersey and just feel a little uneasy about that. Or do you want to try a new team? Like, the pathways are fascinating, but there's some LeBron exhaustion.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment because he's been doing this so long. But like you said, Feschuk, just let me know. So send me an email.
Yeah.
Put it through a Substack email, LeBron. Let us wake up to it.
He's just waiting for, stations in Toronto to have the debate. Who would you rather have? Kawhi Leonard and his health and a potential suspension, or LeBron James in Toronto, right?
Kawhi.
Kawhi.
We'll put up with the baggage of Kawhi.
Eventually.
Kawhi can still get to his spots and dominate games, and LeBron can occasionally. But it'll be fascinating. I mean, I'm actually kind of in some ways rooting for the Steph LeBron combo because we saw how fun it was in the Olympics.
Yeah.
They these are the two kind of preeminent guys of their era. They both have incredible understanding of how to play, and both born in the same, Akron, Ohio area. And there's a lot of ties there between those two. And I do think there'd be some beauty to that if you could put up with Draymond Green being a part of it. But who knows? I mean, I think Pat Riley is of the belief that the Miami Heat are going to, maybe make one last run.
One more for the road.
They landed Giannis, and they have another big fish, I guess, to catch. Is that what you said today?
You know what? When you're in Miami in January, it's sometimes you say, why wouldn't everybody come here?
Yeah, good point.
Easy. And part of the beauty of LeBron right now is that he can play that number 2, number 3 option. He did it to Luka last year, and I think he did it very admirably. Like, there's always going to be ego when you're the greatest in your craft in the world. It's built in. But I don't think this is not an idiot who's saying, no, I need the ball every single time, no matter what. Like, you're not dealing with a guy who needs to be the alpha, needs to be playing ISO all the time. He knows how to, and he did a great job of it with Luka last year, of being the number 2 option, being a facilitator. He's such a great passer. So I think he can do that. It's exciting. And you know what? I've changed my answer to Golden State. If it works, I'd love it. If it doesn't, it would be so tragic.
Yeah.
And so awful to watch going down the stretch. So maybe as a sicko, I'd like that too, but we'll see.
It'd be almost like that Lakers team that had Karl Malone and Steve Nash.
Ooh,
all this, Gary Payton. And
just never worked.
And it just,
They all got hurt.
Wow.
They were all old.
Yeah, they're all old. Braun's not young either, but he's stayed healthy. So who knows? Hazy B is off today, so we could get news that Kawhi Leonard and the investigation's over. You never know. That's reason to listen. We're going to get a list from you, I hear.
Fantastic.
On what the Jays need to do.
I'm actually going to fix the Blue Jays.
You're going to fix the Blue Jays. Perfect.
Finally.
All right.
Thank goodness.
4:45. We're going to have that. Tim Kirchin at 5:05. Coming up next, though, former Maple Leaf and now Pittsburgh Penguin Nick Robertson joins the show. OverDrive returns after the break.
Pour me up a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jay Daniels got a history. There's a party downtown near
OverDrive is brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Mark Rowe in for Brian Hayes alongside Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star, Keegan Matheson from MLB.com. Nick Robertson's going to join us in a couple of minutes. the newest edition of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have a lot of Maple Leaf flair to that, not just the roster, but upper management. So Brandon Pridham joined the Penguins, Kyle Dubas,
Jason Spezza, Wes Clark.
Yeah, it's a comfortable place, I guess, to migrate if you're a Toronto Maple Leaf and you want to get out of town.
Quick drive.
Right, and they're coming off one of the real positive surprises of the NHL season is the Penguins returning to the playoffs.
Yes, indeed.
And like you think of what we've talked about when it comes to Sidney Crosby and his future, and Brian Hayes was the proponent of it, but I agreed. Like, let's get him out of there and get him on a contender, and then the Penguins suddenly are a contender, or at least a playoff team.
And like I'm with you. It was a great hot take from Hayes to beat that drum and say, get him to Montreal or get him to somewhere.
Right.
We can see him go deep.
Yeah,
in
you
the
just want to see him
playoffs.
play more.
We want to see him play more. It's a joy to watch him, and it was heartbreaking to see him go out of the Olympics in the way he did. But Sidney Crosby has never expressed one public iota of desire to leave Pittsburgh, and I'm not sure that's ever going to change.
He hasn't expressed much publicly. It's what I admire about him, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's even similar to that LeBron conversation, but to be at the top of your game for 20 years, and there's no beef with you, nobody's got it out for you, you haven't had the controversy, the scandal, anything. Like, it's incredible. Great Nova Scotian fellas. Aren't they all?
Everyone from the province of Nova Scotia is a great human being.
Well, I want to see him get his chance in Pittsburgh again, man. To be part of this building back up, like one more time, would be so cool. I hope he gets it there, but I think he's a lifer, and I hope he is.
Well, there's something to that, though, like that whole Nova Scotia thing they've got going out there where it's Crosby was sort of the ringleader of it, and then McKinnon being a Crosby fanboy in his early days, and now, of course, a peer of Crosby. They're training together out there. Brad Marchand joins in. We hear Macklin Celebrini, who wants to train with great players. Where does he go? He goes out there and trains with those guys. And now he's picked up the virus that agents hate of, I might take less, just like Sid and McKinnon did, to make my team better.
$8.7 million a year has been the best bargain.
It's those cheap Nova Scotia. Oh, I don't need that much. No. $10 million? Oh,
well, the cost of living, right?
Are you sure that's not too much?
Yeah. Isn't lobster expensive? I thought.
But I love it. I watched Crosby growing up playing for the Dartmouth Whalers and their AAA team, who played against my town's team, which was the big draw in town. And he was 14. That's before he went off to play at school. And underager, 14 years old, 5,000 points that season. I was a hater as a kid. I'm proud to say I've converted.
Right.
But, man, did he whoop us back then. And that changed everything around the whole region. We got McKinnon after that. Summer hockey blew up. You had to be like Sid. But I'm so happy to see it working out for him in Pittsburgh, man. I'd love to see it in there.
And the intrigue is if he is on a playoff team, and who knows if Pittsburgh's back there, is he's not a shell of himself. He's maybe not where he was 10 years ago. But as we've seen on the Olympic team, as we've seen on World Championship teams, and as we obviously see with the Pittsburgh Penguins, he is still among the very best in the game. And which is a real testament, obviously, to what Crosby has done physically. He's always been a really smart player. But the fact that you get to that stage of your career, and we almost kind of, without even looking at the evidence, we almost want to write guys off.
Yeah.
Be like, well, he could be a good third-line center. It's like, well, why does he have to be a third-line center, right? So it'll be exciting to see what Crosby has in store this next season. It'll be interesting to see what his newest teammate has in store for this next season. It's Nick Robertson joins us now on OverDrive, fresh off of signing a new 2-year deal with the Penguins. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Just describe what it's been like to avoid our.
It's like a fresh start, so I'm really, really pumped and can't wait to get to Pittsburgh.
So Nick, we, you were in Toronto a long time. I think I made a joke at one point that you had two specialties when you were here. One was scoring goals, which you did an awful lot for the amount of ice time you got, and the other one was contract years, because I think you had 3 straight. So what's it like now to have the security of a 2-year deal?
Yeah. I made a good point there. It's nice. I think I haven't really, for my full time playing in the NHL, I've yet to have another season under contract. So that was really a big focus for me, was to get some term and to kind of just settle in and give me time to get some runway in Pittsburgh. And I'm happy the way it turned out. I'm really excited.
I was just curious though, when you look back at your time with the Leafs and how it was year to year so often and sometimes game to game. I mean, what did you take away from it?
Well, to always be ready, like you said. Toronto, we have such a talented team, and I would get in the mix with some players, and I had to be on my game all the time, whether it was with Chief or Kiefer in my first full year. So I always had to be on top of my game. But again, I think it's always a blessing in disguise because you can't get complacent. Whether you're up and down the lineup, you got to work your way to either get up in the lineup or to stay there. So that's kind of been my experience with that.
Nick, now that you can't get settled in Pittsburgh now, whether it's Kyle Dubas in the front office, your coaching staff, your new teammates, what are they telling you about how you fit this team? And what's exciting you when you're hearing about your new role, how this is going to look?
Yeah, I had a great conversation with Musi and Kyle, and when I got traded to, I talked to him right away. And basically, the message was obviously it's a new opportunity, a change of scenery, and they got obviously some guys have gone into Pittsburgh as a change of scenery and had some success there. So kind of replicate that, and their message to me was that I would obviously get a look and get again just a fresh start, just to kind of recharge a little bit, and my job's to go in and be ready to go. So I look forward to that.
Nick Robertson is joining us on OverDrive, just signing a 2-year deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Nick, you obviously, and we were just chatting about it before you came on, the legacy of Sidney Crosby and how he, despite what his birth certificate says, is still one of the very best in the game. What do you know about him as a competitor, and what have you learned about him in the few days that you've now become his teammate?
Yeah, right away when I got traded to Pittsburgh, he was the first guy to text me right away. So it was pretty nice to hear from him. Obviously, Sidney Crosby, a legend in the game. His leadership, the way he plays, how hard he plays, good two-way game. From my perspective, playing against him, he's just so strong on the puck, so smart and confident. And going forward, I look forward to kind of learning from him about his leadership, how he is as a teammate, the way he carries himself, and I'm going to do everything I can to kind of learn from him and apply that to my game.
Nick, a lot of former Leaf people in that organization, from Dubas to Jason Spezza. They just brought aboard Brandon Pridham, Wes Clark. I mean, what's that been like for you?
It's been cool. I mean, I've talked to a handful of them. I'm sure I'm going to see them soon when I go to Pittsburgh in a couple weeks or so. And I think that for me, the transition to going to a new team, it's very rare you have guys that been with you, let alone a GM that drafted you. So I think it's an advantage for me. And again, it's a little more easy for me to kind of ask about how the team is, certain questions about Pittsburgh, and it's been easy for me. So I had some previous discussions with some guys who've been around, and look forward to when I get to Pittsburgh to be even more comfortable with the guys there.
Nick, I'm curious how that helps you going to a new city. Like, I don't know how that feels to wake up tomorrow and be told that I'm going to Pittsburgh or to Miami or Texas, whatever it is. Is it the living situation, how it's going to work with your new team and the facilities? Like, how does that ease this transition, which is quite new for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously Toronto, the way the market is there, and even just the city, it's pretty go with the Leafs, and obviously it's a change of scenery in every aspect, in the rink, outside the rink, facility wise. I've heard their facility and their staff is amazing, and obviously I know a lot of their staff, so I'm pretty aware of that. But yeah, I mean, finding out getting traded, let alone to Pittsburgh was great. So I'm just look forward to. I've heard nothing but great things. Look forward to getting there.
Now, Nick, as Dave alluded to, there was some uncertainty going into this offseason, which you're used to a little bit with these contract years, and now that you're settled. But you also have a brother who's dealing kind of in a different situation, but a similar one. What's it been like just as brothers to talk about your own situations in the NHL and how you maybe can help each other get through it?
Yeah, I would say my situation is a little different than his. But
and that's not me prying for answers here, but if you want to divulge,
no, I'm not going to say anything. But he's definitely talked to him about my situation, his situation. We both have our situations are unique in itself, and he's got his thing, and I look forward to how that plays out. So
what's this summer looking like for you? I know everybody always talks about what they want to work on or what do you need to do in terms of your fitness or your body or your golf game? I remember you telling me that you'd been recently taking up golf. I mean, what's it been like for you this summer?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the golf game's still struggling, so nothing new there. But for me, it's the same. Obviously, for me, I like to work on a lot of obviously my shot. It's a big part of my game, my speed. But big focus for my group in the summer is a lot of realistic play, a lot of like pucks off the wall, like situational stuff. So we work on that a lot. Other than that, away from hockey, I try to relax as much as possible. Obviously, signing a contract, knowing we're going to be is nice to get that done early in the summer. So now I'm trying to figure out, when I get to Pittsburgh and getting settled in there. So, yeah, a lot to, same stuff working on in the summer, obviously the golf, but trying to relax and enjoy my summer as well.
Well, Nick, enjoy the offseason working on that shot, both on the ice and on the course. Congratulations on the 2-year deal, and best of luck this upcoming season with the Penguins.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
There you have it. Nick Robertson, Pittsburgh Penguin, who has a little bit of security, as you point out, Dave, where, it has to be hard going year by year and not really knowing, your financial standing, what team you're playing for. And with the Toronto Maple Leafs, how frustrating it was probably in and out of the lineup.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you talk about the revenge game that he'll play against the Leafs whenever it was.
January 16th.
January 16th. But it always felt with Nick Robertson that he had revenge games against his own coach.
Right. Well, how many we should have the stat, how many goals he would score after being a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
Like he had to be the league leader in that.
He was really good at that. It was like, oh, we forgot about Nick Robertson, and there he is, shooting it in the
Playing
net.
41 games.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him, though. Like, I think he's the perfect candidate to go to a new place, new team that puts him in the right spots. What was he playing, 11, 12 minutes a night with the Leafs, right? Bump that up a little bit. Does he jump from scoring that 13, 14 up to a 20-goal scorer? Like, we all know the talent's there. We've seen it. But I think it's just such a perfect spot for him, man. I'm excited for the guy.
Wouldn't that be like such a typical Maple Leaf story?
Oh, yeah. He puts in 35
like
this
the
year.
Mason Marchments and like just the guys who are like, we had this guy and now he scores 30 a year. Like
Carter Verhaeghe. He's the playoff clutch goal scorer.
How did the analytics not see this?
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, the thing with Robertson that was always like, how many times did he talk about getting rid of Nick Robertson over the past handful of years?
Always,
right?
yeah, every
it
trade.
It was constant. Constantly. It was always, and he demanded a trade at one point and then kind of just shrugged his shoulders and said, I guess they're not trading me, and just kind of kept going. But the thing was with him, I think the reason they didn't trade him is it's kind of the same thing with Morgan Rielly. Like, A, it was tough to get value for him, and B, he's got definable skills. Like, and they're hard to replace. And his skill, if you look at goals per 60 minutes, I mean, at times, I haven't looked at it, after this season, but there were times last year where, you could sort of carve out a 2-year period where he was as good as anybody on that team in terms of just per minute of production. Nobody was doing it better. And maybe Austin Matthews was at different times, but Matthews had dropped off there for a while. So, and Nylander maybe was a little bit ahead of him at times too, but he was right up there with those guys. And I understand he's not the same player as those guys, and he can't play, at least coaches have perceived that he cannot play those minutes. He has never proven he can. But it's hard to find guys that can just, when they're out there, they are a threat to put it in. And he's one of them.
All right. Well, can the Pittsburgh Penguins return to the playoffs? It is the same question we're asking in this city when it comes to the Toronto Blue Jays. And the man who's going to fix everything is sitting to my left. Keegan's List is coming up next on OverDrive.
Back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Wrapping up the first hour of Overdrive. Mark Rowe in for Brian Hayes alongside Dave Feschuk and Keegan Matheson. We have one ball game today. Not really sure why. I guess it's in Philadelphia. I guess it was convenient.
Gotta have something to watch. Can't have that many empty days.
No,
No World Cup
I don't
game
know why
today?
we don't have 6 or 10 or anyway.
In a couple days this week, I've sat down. There's no game on.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Think.
Book hotels.
Sit with my thoughts.
Book hotels, my man.
Join us on Overdrive.
Please.
But the Jays will be back in action tomorrow to begin a series with the White Sox. This is the start of the second half of the season, even though they've played more than 81 games. And they are 2.5 games out of a playoff spot, Keegan. It has not gone as planned, but the season is not a write-off yet. You're going to fix things with your list.
I'm going to fix the entire thing. The front office is listening.
Okay.
And they're saying, finally, this guy's sharing his opinion about how we should do our jobs. So we've got 5 things here. We're calling it a 5-pack.
I love it.
I already drank the first one.
Perfect.
We're going to jump in. Number one, guys, the number one thing I want to see, it always has to start with Vladdy coming back, any big thing. I want to see Vladdy come back pissed off. Like, I want to see the get the hell out of my way Vladdy coming back. There's been so many times, even on the show, guys, over the year where I've said, listen, I want Vladdy loose and dancing. I want him showing up at 6:59 for first pitch. Like, whatever. Keep it loose. Vladdy has... He's one of the few players in Major League Baseball, and I really mean this, very few players who are able to unlock a greater version of themselves. We saw it in the postseason. It's real, and it's in there. Even so many great players do not have that extra level. They have a ceiling. Vladdy unlocked something else, and it's clearly a battle with how to get back to that, even to get back to a good version of himself. But what we saw in the postseason was this hyper-focus. I'd walk by him on the field, and no one else existed. Everything was just a blur to him other than the opposing pitcher and the baseball. I want Vladdy to come back pissed off, and I want everyone to follow him, man, because when he takes this seriously, everyone else has to. Like, these are their playoff games. You got a week to figure this out. These are their playoff games. Moving on from there, I do want to see, guys, I want to see one big trade, and I don't mean buying and selling. My curiosity these next few weeks, and I feel like I'm being inspired by Brian Windhorst here, where I say, like, don't aggregate me. But my curiosity here is this the time where the Blue Jays, instead of adding a reliever, traditional buying, or selling off Kevin Gausman, George Springer, traditional selling, is this the time where there's room for something more of a foundation-changing trade? Something where you are moving out core pieces who are here in 27 and beyond for different core pieces, where you decide, listen, last year was our ceiling. We've got to do something different to get back to the World Series because this ain't working. I look at what they did over the offseason. Cease, Okamoto, Spencer Miles, Tyler Rogers. They nailed their offseason, but the core has not been what it needs to be. So does something need to change there? I'm very interested in. The third thing, guys, I want to see coming out of the break is Addison Barger at all. Just in any form, any shape. Barger with that elbow injury that he had early in the season, the ankles injury, guys, I will never forget bilateral ankle discomfort. It means you've injured both ankles at the same time. And I've learned a lot of body parts this year covering the Blue Jays. It's been a great year for my burgeoning medical career. He's had every injury. Now he has a fracture in his back. Barger was supposed to be the guy who would supply that extra offense behind Vladdy, behind George Springer, if they took a step back. And, Lord, they have taken a big one. You don't have Barger there. You have not had Alejandro Kirk, so I want to see Addison Barger there. Moving to number 4, I want to see a big adjustment from Trey Savage. We saw him in his last outing, guys, walk 7 batters, and it looked like he walked 7 batters. It was ugly. And what Trey Savage told us after that is when he is throwing, I will not try to imitate Trey Savage, despite the fact it looks like I'm getting ready to here. He's way over the top with his delivery, which means his spine and his body is completely straight up. He has leaned back too far. He's a few degrees backwards. You're losing balance. You're losing release point. And you are going up against lineups who no longer want to be made to look stupid by you. They've seen what he did to the Rays last year, the Yankees, what he did in the World Series. My main concern every day showing up as a hitter in the big leagues is how do I not look stupid? We'll get to making contact later on. Trey Savage is a guy that can do that. And I think that he needs to make the adjustment right now. Everyone's got talent in the big leagues. Adjustments are what keep you there. And lastly, guys, the one thing I really want to see kind of this week is some sort of answer or direction from Max Scherzer, because this has been uncomfortable for 6 months. I mean, we can stretch it back to last year. If you leave out his postseason performance, I know it was great that he yelled John Schneider back down the mound in Seattle. That was cool as hell. I'll always remember it. But otherwise, that was an ERA over 5. This year, it's over 10. We're talking about injury after injury. I know he is raging against time and refusing to give this up. But is he going to be part of this solution, or is he going to be someone who has some uncomfortable conversations in the manager's office in the next week? I think we're getting there, but that would kind of simplify some things.
Ladies and gentlemen, buy your Blue Jay playoff tickets now.
They're fixed.
Everything is fixed.
Simple.
We've got a Carter Alomar trade part 2 with the
it's cooking.
A core piece trade. I love it.
And you're taking Pete Walker's job with that Trey Savage break.
I cannot take Pistol Pete's job,
No.
but you know what? It's I'll let him keep that one. But I'll be their posture analyst. You got to make up.
I like that.
Titles.
Posture analyst.
I'm surprised that doesn't exist already.
At one point, it will.
Is the angry Vladdy though, Keegan? Is he angry because his back is sore?
Man, I would be.
Yeah.
It's if it is, hit the IL.
We'll ask Tim Kirchin about that. He's going to kick off the 5 o'clock hour. Bruce Bruto is also going to join us as OverDrive continues on TSN 1050, the TSN app, and also on TSN 4 and 5.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 of OverDrive on TSN 1050, the TSN app, TSN 4 and 5. We're live on YouTube. We'll soon be up on Crave. Mark Rowe in for Brian Hayes alongside Keegan Matheson of MLB.com and Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star. We're on Crave now. Big deal.
I love it.
Yeah, this is one of my first few shows on Crave.
So I'm going to introduce myself to people now.
Crave Superstar.
Keegan Matheson of Crave.
Of
There
Crave.
you go.
Of Crave.
You're not lying.
Tim Kirchin's going to join us in a couple of minutes. We'll get his thoughts on how the Jays move forward, and as an outsider, how does the rest of the league view them and their chances to first get back to 500 and then get into a playoff spot. I don't know if this is the typical breaking news that Brian Hayes misses when he's not doing the show, but the Blues have signed Connor McMichael to a 6-year contract worth $6.75 million.
No, that's not something that Hayes is going to be.
Get Hazy on the line.
Yeah. I got an email that said breaking news, and I thought, here we go. Kawhi Leonard or LeBron.
Not quite.
It's big news in St. Louis. That's about it.
It might not even be that big in St. Louis.
Yeah, I guess it's
People say, "Oh, great, we got him."
it's OverDrive St. Louis, as they say. We'll be talking about it. By the way, did you see OverDrive UK last night after the English lost?
Wow.
Oh my goodness! Like there were video clips going viral, like of the English Brian Hayes or Noodles.
Unreal.
Oh man, it was great.
I love it. Seems like
I
the
feel
good
bad
people of
for
England,
English supporters, but
Yeah, they seem like they handle it well.
yeah,
Just bar brawls. Just punch your buddy.
And how about
Whatever.
the German coach going on and saying that was our best game?
yeah.
And by the way, it wasn't the tactics; it was the players.
Interesting, like some of the. Obviously, he's a great coach.
Well, is he though? He just choked
as
up,
an outsider.
He just choked up their best chance to make the World Cup final for the first time since 1966.
But they win this big game against Norway, and he's critical of how they played. And then they asked Jude Bellingham, who had been their best player in the second half of the tournament, and he's just like, yeah, well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, geez, those two.
Was it your best game?
Yeah. What?
It's call me a little analytically minded here, but typically the winners. It's like
Yeah.
when Canada lost and Jesse Marsh said we were the best team on the.
rather be us than them.
Yeah.
Wait,
Would
they're
you?
moving on and you're not? That doesn't really make a lot of sense.
I know this is a little cutting edge, me fellas. I prefer winning, and it's I think coaches are telling themselves a lot of lies in post. But I would not want to be that guy visiting England anytime soon. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll be vacationing in the good land of England.
No.
But he's under contract until Euro 2028, right?
Yeah.
And I guess these guys with security on their deals, Jesse Marsh is one of them,
Yeah.
right? He got a big extension right before the World Cup. They say stuff, they say whatever they want, right? They kind of the ego of the international soccer coach knows no bounds.
Yeah. So we do have the final between Argentina and Spain on Sunday at 3 p.m., which also is on Crave and TSN and CTV. Everything's on Crave now. So, I think I'm a good company man over the last 10 minutes.
Fantastic.
We're out of the All-Star break. We didn't really spend a whole lot of time on the All-Star game itself, but the Blue Jays performed quite well. I don't know if that's a good omen for the second half of the year. And I would point out Dylan Cease, but everyone who pitched for the American League pitched well.
Yeah.
Like it was, I still say the All-Star game in Major League Baseball is head and shoulders over every other All-Star game, but this one won't be a classic. Might be the Midsummer Classic, but it wasn't a classic.
You're a pitching nut. You loved it.
Yes. A lot of strikeouts.
27 strikeouts.
Like when Cody Bellinger hits a 2-run single or double in the first inning and gets the MVP, and they have to keep him in his uniform, because all I thought about was a lot of the guys just get out of their uniform, right? And they're like they got one foot on a plane.
You got to stick around till something else happens here,
Right?
Cody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the MVP that you don't always want. But it was fun. It'll be fun to actually watch some meaningful baseball. We got one game in Philadelphia tonight, but we got the Blue Jays beginning their series with the White Sox tomorrow. And join us now on the Maple Toyota Hotline from ESPN is Tim Kirchin. How are you, Tim?
I'm well, fellas. How you doing?
We're great. We're looking forward to Well, we've been saying this for a while. A big series for the Toronto Blue Jays because they have dug themselves a bit of a hole, if you haven't heard, and they're trying to get back to 500. They're trying to get back into a playoff spot if they can. Just as an outsider, how do you evaluate what you've seen so far for the Blue Jays?
Well, I'm a little confused. I thought they would be much better than this. Now, injuries, obviously, especially the rotation, have really set them back. But they're 6 games under. They've been outscored by 35 runs. But they're only 2.5 games out of the wild card, the last wild card, in a very, very ordinary American League. So I just don't think this is time to give up on the season when you still have a chance to make the playoffs. But a lot of stuff is going to have to happen. And the first thing is they're going to have to score some more runs. I mean, they're 26th in the major leagues in runs scored. And they're 23rd in home runs. And that's just not the way to make the playoffs, especially when you're just kind of an ordinary pitching team, middle of the pack when it comes to ERA. And they have not been the elite defensive team that they were, especially in the postseason last year. So there's a lot of work to do, but I would not give up on this season because even the teams that are ahead of them for the wild card, by none of them is a really good team that you have to say, well, we'll never beat those guys. It's a wide-open American League, so I think the Blue Jays have to come out and start playing really well the second half and hope they can move forward. But haven't been a whole lot of signs so far that that's going to happen.
Tim, when you look around the league from your vantage point at Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and we talk about offense for this team, I think he is the quickest and easiest way for that to happen. But with 6 homers, he has not homered in Toronto yet this year, which is still amazing to me. What are people saying that you talk to, and what's your vantage point on what Vladdy is doing this year from a distance?
Well, again, I am confused by this. Anyone who watched him play in October last year, and I saw every Blue Jays playoff game, would acknowledge this is one of the best players in baseball, and not just because he has great power and is a great hitter, but he played a really good defense at first base and runs way better than people think. And then he was really good in the World Baseball Classic, and yet none of that has followed through. I mean, he just got his OPS over 700, which is just not good enough for a guy who's as good as he is. I had a friend who has been around baseball for a long time. He said, I've covered baseball for 32 years, and I can't understand why Vladdy isn't better than this because his talent is way better than this. And it's clear to me that he's trying and he cares. But it's just not happening, which, again, is the beauty of baseball, is that good players aren't always good every year. And for the first half of the season, Vladdy hasn't been what he should be, even though he had a couple homers late in the first half. We'll see if that carries over.
Tim, we were just talking about the All-Star game, and it was how it was really, to use Keegan's phrase, it was a pitcher's nut kind of night because there was 27 strikeouts and not a lot of offense. I mean, All-Star break, we can look big picture at the game. I mean, are you of the mind that they need to intervene on that, like that pitching's become too dominant in the grand scheme of things, and they're going to have to make an adjustment here, much like they made an adjustment with bigger bases and a pitching clock and various other things to tweak the game. Do you see a tweak coming to the dominance of pitchers in the years to come?
I don't see a tweak right now because this has been going on for years now. 27 strikeouts, most ever in a 9-inning game at the All-Star game, and only 1 extra base hit. It just shows you again how dominant the stuff is in the big leagues right now, even with a whole bunch of great pitchers who didn't even take part in the All-Star game. And it's just another reminder that when pitchers with great stuff locate that great stuff, the hitters have virtually no chance. Nobody had a a chance against Dylan Cease the other night. That was ridiculous how dominant he was. But the adjustment that's going to have to be made is going to have to come from the hitters, who are going to have to recognize this guy's better than I am in this at-bat or in this game. I have to try something different. I have to try harder to put the ball in play, and I have to make sure I have more than one swing here, because if he recognizes I have one bat path and he can avoid that bat path, not only does he get me out, he strikes me out. 22 guys got to the All-Star break with at least 100 strikeouts. 22. And that's not even a record. We had 25 of them in 2024 and 25 of them in 2025. But this is where we are, and I think the adjustment is going to have to be made by the hitters to figure out what to do with this spectacular stuff.
Tim Kurchin from ESPN is joining us on OverDrive, and we've established the fact that there are a lot of teams that still believe that they're in it because, well, quite frankly, they are in it because especially the American League is just so mediocre. And as we now approach the trade deadline, which is less than 3 weeks away, how do you see that all playing out? Is it going to be quiet because of that, or do you see teams maybe approaching a player-for-player deal as opposed to give us a bunch of prospects for, one of our big stars that can help you go on a run?
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating because I see only 3 teams in the American League being out of the playoff race. And that means we're going to have fewer.
Oh, did we lose Tim?
Looks like we lost him.
Okay, we lost him. We'll try to get him back.
Fewer sellers? Is that what he was going to say?
I think so, yeah. It's going to be a weird market this year, and it will be a late market.
And you look at the Tigers. Like, the Tigers were supposed to be the team that were out of it, and everyone's going to get Tarek Skubal.
Easy.
And, can you name a bigger player who would be moved at the deadline than Tarek Skubal? And now the Tigers are back in it. And how do you even though he's not going to sign there. But.
Yeah, they're so thin. Like the Jays could be 3 days away from a playoff spot. Or they could be a few days away from being 6 out of this thing. It's so tight in there, so it's going to be tight, and it's going to be a late developing. I don't think we're going to see many July trades before August 3rd.
Tim Kurchin joins us from ESPN. Tim, we lost you there for a little bit, but you were just talking about how there are so few sellers in the American League.
Yeah, we might see buyers trading with buyers. And, you look at the Red Sox. They kind of personify where we are. 3 weeks ago, they were one of the biggest disappointments in baseball. Then they won 9 games in a row, and now they're a half a game out of the last wild card. So this thought that, they're going to trade Sonny Gray and Aroldis Chapman and Garrett Whitlock, I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to add now, and I think that's where a lot of teams are right now. With a chance to make the playoffs, I think they're going to go for it, and we're going to have very few sellers. Like Luis Arraez of the Giants is probably going to go somewhere. But we got to keep our eye, of course, on the Twins. Are they in it or out of it? Because Joe Ryan, for instance, could be a big impact pitcher if he were to move. And, of course, we have to keep our eye on the Tigers because Tarek Skubal will be the game changer of game changers at the trade deadline if they move him. But I think at this moment, having gone 22-14 since June the 1st and won 7 out of 10 since the All-Star break, I think they're going to be buyers. At this point, I think it's more likely they keep Skubal rather than trade him, but that certainly could change in the next 3 weeks.
Tim, who are some of the other big names you've got your eye on or that really interest you here leading up to the deadline? Because Skubal, for a while, that sounded like such an exciting chase to get all the big buyers in on one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. But if he ends up off the market, which I also expect, who are the other big names that you think people are going to be excited about leading up to August 3?
Well, I'm not sure there are any really big names. I mentioned Joe Ryan. I mentioned Luis Arraez. Those guys could really help contenders.
Yeah.
But if so many teams are still in it, it's also possible, I've been told, it's going to be a very quiet trade deadline. If there's no Skubal, if the Twins decide we're going for it, we're not going to trade, that is certainly a possibility. But in all the years I've done this, I've gone into trade deadlines saying this is going to be crazy and nothing happens. And other trade deadlines, I say nothing's going to happen, and then there are 6 huge trades on the last day. But I don't see that many really good players out there that seem to be in a position to move. Someone like Taylor Ward of the Orioles, free agent after the season, right-handed hitter that so many teams are looking for, such as the Phillies. I mean, that's a possibility, but we're not even sure if the Orioles are going to sell or if they're going to buy, because like the Blue Jays, they're still in this race despite being under 500.
If you're in the Blue Jays front office, Tim, and you're sort of perplexed, like, well, why isn't this going better? This was a team that came within a whisker of winning the World Series last year, and yet we just can't find the same magic. So you want to shake things up. I mean, you could fire the manager. Whether or not that works, who knows? But he seems like a popular guy. That doesn't seem likely. I mean, Keegan here just proposed maybe you got to trade a core piece to shake things up. I mean, how do you think management is sort of processing what they're dealing with here and realizing they have to shake things up, but there's not an easy solution?
Well, firing the manager for me is not the solution and should not happen. And I think when you've been to where the Blue Jays went to last year and remember the journey where, they were in trouble at one point and made a remarkable comeback to get to 1 out or 1 win away from winning the World Series, I think you have to give them one shot out of the gate here, opening at home with the White Sox and saying, all right, let's get hot and see where this goes. But if nothing happens, then maybe you have to shake up the team and trade a core piece. But I don't see that happening. I think they're going to try to go get a starting pitcher. But I repeat, everyone else is looking for a starting pitcher. And I'm just not sure the Blue Jays are going to be the first in line to land someone like that.
Tim Kurkjian from ESPN joins us. How do you evaluate the Yankees right now, and how much rests on Aaron Judge coming back to really go for it and believe that they are World Series contenders?
Yeah, look, Aaron is the best player in the league, and they have missed him terribly. They have been a subpar offensive team for the last month without him, if not longer. And we're still not sure when he's coming back. So if they're going to be the team they need to be, that is a team that can get to and maybe win the World Series, they need Giancarlo Stanton healthy. They need Aaron Judge completely healthy in October. They need to get Max Fried back, which should be coming in the next few weeks, because with him they have a dominant starting rotation. And they have to address catcher and third base. Are we getting enough offense there? But Judge changes everything when he comes back, and that's why they have to be especially careful to make sure he's 100% healthy when he does come back, because they're not going to where they need to go without him at 100%.
Tim, we've been so focused on the AL here in Toronto. We're looking at the Blue Jays and this crowded picture, but when you zoom out a bit to the NL, is the rest of this league still chasing the Dodgers, or do you think that the Brewers or Atlanta can make a real run at this, at unseating LA, at least out of the NL or in the World Series?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are clearly the team to beat, but the Brewers are really good.
Yeah.
And the way they play the game is so impressive. Now, they have to make sure that Kyle Harrison, Jacob Mizorowski coming out of the second half are 100% healthy, because they're not going to beat the Dodgers, nor is anyone team. That's how loaded the Dodgers still are. But I love the way the Brewers attack things, their aggressiveness on the bases, at the plate. Their rotation is tremendous when everybody is right. And they just play with an energy and a fire that not too many teams play with. So, yeah, I think they could really take on the Dodgers. And I think the Phillies, if they go get that right-handed hitter and they straighten out a few other things, could be a very dangerous team in October also.
Should be a fascinating couple of weeks as we get closer and closer to the stretch drive towards the playoffs. Tim, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, fellas. See you.
There you have it. And Tim Kirchin joined us on the Maple Toyota hotline. It's time to Toyota. Check out the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland in the Maple Auto Mall. The Dodgers...
They're still good.
They're still good.
You think?
It's so funny that you look at the record, you look at that roster, and then you think of, like, you hear about big names, and you're like, well, the Dodgers are in on him. It's like, well, how many players can they field? Right? Like, when the Scooble stuff was heating up, it's like, well, the Dodgers look like the front runners.
Oh,
it's
of
like,
course.
My God.
That's their superpowers. They have so much money that they can stockpile guys who end up on the IL or who end up like Kyle Tucker, bring him up right here, hitting 244 with a 716 OPS.
Mm-hmm.
We spent so much time talking about how he'd be the perfect Blue Jays fit. I certainly didn't say any of that. No way. But look at how this has turned out. It's been awful.
Mm-hmm.
All the money they spent on that. If you are a mid-market team and you spend that money on that player and it goes south, you're toast because that's your whole thing. They've got free plays in this. When you have that much money, you've got free mistakes. It allows you to be so bold and just stockpile these players one after another. Like, they're not calling up the fringe quad A guy. They're calling up another big leaguer.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to compete with that.
How much of their dominance, Keegan, in your mind, in the circles you travel, is at least partly driving the clear rush to a salary cap from Major League Baseball?
No, that's a big talking point. And I've said a few times, guys, I'm fascinated to see how the next few months of conversation around baseball and labor, how different that would be if the Jays had won.
Yeah.
I think it would have changed a lot. It would have changed a lot of tones. It would have changed a lot of stances from people if just one team had have knocked down the Dodgers and they were so close. I know I need to tell everyone how close they are. Have you seen the Isaiah Kiner left a slide, et cetera, et cetera? But if that had have gone differently, then that would have opened it up to, okay, it's not just about this. Teams that are built smart and that peak at the right time can beat this team. But man, oh man, if the Dodgers run it back again this year, oh my God, that is going to be gasoline on the fire. And it is going to be the biggest, clearest, most obvious example that side points.
And might stand in the way of you being in New York in late March.
Oh, man.
For the season opener.
With an off day after the season opener. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What could you do with a day off in New York?
How much money could I waste on that? My God.
Well, it's the thing that Doogie keeps telling me that I need to play is the fact that the Dodgers aren't this household name that you think that they are, or at least not every superstar, as we heard last night at the ESPYs when this guy won an award that we've all talked about, but he's somewhat foreign to Mike Tyson. So let's play this clip.
And the ESPY award goes to, check this out, Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei could not be here tonight. He sends his gratitude and appreciation to ESPN and everyone who voted for him.
Shohei's a guy.
Shohei is a guy. He is the guy.
Yeah. Is he a guy or a band?
Yeah.
What a trio. Mike Tyson, DJ Khaled, and I'm so proud that I don't know which one of the Paul brothers that is.
I believe it was Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Okay, thank goodness.
Because he was part of the monologue.
Which one of the geniuses that is? Is he a guy? Is he a band or a singer?
Yeah.
I love it, Mike Tyson.
There you go. Mike Tyson in 2026, still creating content for us.
Not an Ohtani guy.
That was, and to Kirkchin's point, just to talk about Ohtani and he didn't play in the All-Star game. There's still 27 strikeouts, and he won that ESPY for a game that that was the best part of the ESPY, is just remembering that game where he has 3 home runs,
right,
and he strikes out 10 in 6 scoreless innings in Game 4 of the NLCS. I mean,
man,
they're meant in the history of the sport. I mean, forget last year. How about all the years? Is
Unreal.
there how many better games are there than that one?
Yeah, kind of like I mentioned earlier with Vladdy, he's a way better example of someone who can just unlock a part of his game that transcends everyone else. Like, he can decide to win a game. Like, I think of growing up as a Packers fan, hating Tom Brady and thinking, how can this guy just do this?
Yeah,
he decides to make the game different. It's so hard to do that in baseball because you walk up to the plate 4 times. Like, you don't get a lot of chances at this. It's the hardest sport to do that in, and he does it, man. Like, I'll never forget that game. I'll never forget him in the World Series. As much as people would like to, my God, it's hard.
Well, and it just makes me I go back to that time, and watching the Dodgers dismantle everyone in the playoffs en route to the World Series. Like, that was a really good Brewers team.
Yeah.
And thinking, like, how did the everyone's happy that they're at the World Series, but like, how do you play with this team? And they win game 1 with an exclamation point. You know, they go up 3-2 going home, and it was just. I'm not trying to relive the misery of how it ended. I'm just the fearlessness, the fact that they were down 2-0 to Seattle, and it didn't seem to bother them to go on the road. Like, it's just that it's an intangible that's missing. That
it is.
It goes beyond the fact that Vladdy's OPS is 700. It goes beyond the fact that Alejandro Kirk was hurt and still hasn't been the same since he came back. But hey, it's a new season starting Friday.
It sure is.
At least that's what they're going to tell us.
Better be.
Bruce Boudreau on a new NHL season that's coming up. We have the schedule, 84 games this year, fewer preseason games. How does he like that? The former Jack Adams Award winner and our NHL analyst will join us when OverDrive continues after the break.
Ducks. Sunday. This is the moment on TSN 1050. The finals kick off as Spain takes on defending champion Argentina. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. The world's biggest stage. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Overdrive continuing. Mark Rowe alongside Dave Feschuk and Keegan Matheson. I won't pretend like this is big breaking news, but we do have another signing. Kirby Dach with the Montreal Canadiens. 1 year, $3.6 million. He's they've been waiting for him to be the Kirby Dach that he was as a prospect, but he played well down the stretch. And that Canadiens team, when you wants to hear it, but they seem to be doing it right. And
it's getting more rare too. Like I feel like we're seeing this like fraying of the normalcy in NHL contracts, and to a large extent good, because I think players are taking a step in that NBA direction where there's a lot of player power now in that, but not many.
When Leo Carlson is getting what he is now with Anaheim, but the Flyers, first signed it with the Flyers.
In a universe where you got $18 million players now, for them to not have anybody making more than $9.5 million and a young core locked up as they do.
Right.
Most of them, Suzuki through 2030, Cole Caulfield through 2031, Slavkovsky 2031, Hudson, UFA in 2034.
Right.
I mean,
Hudson being under 10, right?
Yeah, 8.85.
So one of his comparables is Matthew Schaefer.
Right.
What is he making when he becomes a free agent?
Yeah.
Right. Like whatever he wants, really.
More.
Right? A lot more.
The lid's been blown off.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
It really has by that one maneuver by Daniel Briere, which has every GM in the league ruining the day.
Not just Pat Verbeek.
No. Well, I mean, what was Pat Verbeek's? Yeah, Pat Verbeek allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. And certainly the Anaheim Ducks ownership, I think, is going to be watching very closely to see how young Mr. Carlson performs for that check.
Do you think it leads to more offer sheets, or do you think this is like we get an outlier every couple of years? Seems to be the Flyers a lot, but that just pisses people off, and then
everybody hates him, right? Like,
right?
Everybody ends up saying, well, especially this one, because this one's just reset the market. This is like the guy does not deserve that money. There's no real.
The problem is
what to be made.
What do you pay Cutter Gauthier now, and what do you pay Beckett Seneca? Like they might say, well, we're not 18 million, but we're also not 10 million less than him. So
agents like it,
love it.
And that's going to be the big battle between agents and front offices. Mm-hmm. They're going to say, look, Leo got this. Can my guy get 15 now instead of what would have been 12 a year ago?
Yeah.
Our front office is going to say, hell no, or is there going to be an acceptance of a new reality, which I think would be fun as hell.
Yeah. Our TSN hockey analyst, Bruce Brudor, now joins us on Overdrive. And Bruce, you played in the wrong era. Someone would have offer sheeted you. You'd be making all this kind of money that we were talking about with Leo Carlson.
Hey, it would have been more than the 32.5 that I met. I can tell you that.
Oh man!
Hey, well, Bruce, we were just talking about Leo Carlson and the Ducks matching that contract. And now you worked for the Ducks, you worked for that ownership, and I'm wondering, like, how tough a decision you think that was for the Ducks to sign that check, that massive bonus that he was due, right away, something in the range of $20 million. I mean, that's not exactly chump change for any ownership group. How do you think it went over in Anaheim?
Well, I know the Samuelis have the money. That's not the problem. I think the biggest problem is when I was there, at least, they always had their own cap, which was a little lower than what you'd see at the NHL cap. So if they had a cap of, say, $10 million lower, they probably struggled with it. But it was something they had to do. They couldn't let Leo Carlson, go. It's really turned into something that's going to be problematic for them, I believe, but they couldn't let him go for just 4 first-round picks. It sounds like a lot, but quite frankly, if you're Philadelphia and you're getting between the 15th and 20th picks, you might not hit a home run in any one of those picks.
Bruce, when you look at that offer sheet around the rest of the league with where that's set salaries, do you think that's going to exist as an outlier that everyone can look away from? Or do you think that other agents and other players are going to be trying to get a little closer to that? Will that kind of change a new financial reality for the NHL?
Well, I really believe it will, because every agent is going to use comparables, and they're going to be comparables all over the place. And even if you, like I just heard you say, if you're not 1/3 as good as him, that's still 12 million. So they're going to be using those comparables. And I think now for Anaheim, for a team that was built all these young guys, whether it's Beckett Seneca, whether it's Gauthier, those guys are great young players. It's going to put their whole pay scale out of whack, because even if they don't want to pay that kind of money, eventually they know they will get offer sheeted, So I mean, it's going to be tough for them. But it was something that Anaheim had to do. They've been building up all these young players for the last 6 or 7 years. They couldn't let their best young player go.
Bruce, the full schedule came out today, and the biggest change from last season is the fact that the regular season is now 84 games and not 82, which we had for a couple of seasons in the early 90s, and that the preseason is now much shorter. From a coach's perspective, do you like this change, or did you need those preseason games to really evaluate who is going to maybe be on your fourth or third line?
No, I mean, we love it. And I'll tell you this, there's not a coach. The first two preseason games are all about the American League players and the young draft choices getting a chance. And so the scouts that drafted them can see what, give them an opportunity to be an NHL player. Most NHL veteran guys only want to play 2 games, 3 games max anyway. So and if you look at what I've been looking at is, okay, the projected rosters. Most of the teams don't have too many players that are available to make the team anyway. So as a coach, you want to get down to your roster as quick as possible to get all the systems in place before the season starts, because we start looking at the standings after the first weekend and where we are, what we have to make up and everything. That's what it's come down to anyway.
Bruce, one of the details of the schedule release from the Leafs perspective was that Morgan Riley featured prominently on the social media posts today and yesterday of the home opener. And, we'd spent the whole offseason talking about the possibility of Morgan Riley being traded. There was a lot of scuttlebutt that he'd given a list of 4 teams to the Leafs of Western-based teams that he'd accept the trade to, given his trade protection. Now it's looking more likely perhaps that he may be, back with the team in training camp and beyond. What's that like for you as a coach? Have you got a player that's sort of been rumored to be out and yet he's still in? Can it pose problems to sort of keep him on track in the following season, or how do you look at it?
I think it's all about communication. All those rumors, the GM and the coach are talking, and they'll tell the GM will tell the coach, no, we're not going to trade him, so don't worry about it. But that's out there, and I think they've sent a message by putting him on all these social media posts regarding the upcoming season, like, lay off him, he's not going anywhere, he's going to be here. So I think that'll quell the rumors until the rumors become reality, if that's the case. But coaches talk to the players all the time, and I was just talking to somebody today about that. I used to talk to all the players every summer, some more than once, just to see how they're going, how their training's coming on. So all these questions are going to be answered between Hiller and Morgan Riley before the season even starts. So when they come, they'll be fresh and they'll be ready to go if he's there at the start of the season.
Bruce, you watch this team as closely as anybody. Morgan Riley, the fall off that he had these past 2 seasons, how much of it do you think was sort of that he and Craig Berube never really meshed as a coach and a player? Morgan talked about how, Berube asked him to take risk out of his game, and that really wasn't his game in general over the years. Do you think there could be a kind of a rejuvenation under a new coach, or is it, or was that just being too forgiving to Morgan Riley and saying, hey, he should have found a way?
Well, I mean, if there was a rift between those two, this will be. He can't wait to start the season. He's had a lot of negative press, so again, that any athlete that's worth anything is wanting to go. I'll show them type thing. But I think it all started, quite frankly, when Morgan Riley was the mainstay on the power play, and when they and 2 years ago they started putting Marner at the point, and I think it took him back a bit, and where this was his spot, this was his job, and so I think it affected him mentally as well as anything else. So I think a new start with a new coach, if there's good communication between them, I think Morgan Riley, who I used to think was a really good player, because I when we played against them, I mean, you look at the end of the game, he'd have 3 assists, 4 assists. I mean, the good outweighed the bad. The last year, the bad outweighed the good, but I don't think it. I think he can turn it around very quickly.
Bruce, we'll get you out on what's going on with the Detroit Red Wings and Steve Yzerman no longer the general manager. Do you find it odd that they would come out with this decision in mid-July?
Yeah, I mean, you have to scratch your head a little bit, but I have to believe, and I'm guessing, and just in my opinion, it had something to do with Dylan Larkin. I mean, let alone the success that they haven't had since Steve got there. It's I think about them not being able to get cohesive and get the Dylan Larkin thing situated. I don't know whose fault, whether it's stubbornness, asking too much, or you're supposed to maybe get more teams involved in it than you want. I don't know what it is, but I got to believe at this late date, because listen, the draft has taken place, the free agency has basically taken place. I mean, why would you fire the GM July 15th? And at this point, if you're going to do it, you have to do it earlier. And I mean, obviously, Detroit's got a great love for this guy. That's why they tried to ease it and make it sound a little different. But I mean, we all know that Steve was let go, and for whatever reason. But I think the Dylan Larkin situation was a big part of it.
Well, the middle of July, not a great time to fire a GM, but a great time to be able to see you, Bruce. This is a nice treat to chat some hockey, but we know we're not ready for the summer to end, so enjoy the off season and looking forward to our next conversation.
Yeah, no, like I mean, there's no off season when you're thinking hockey all the time,
Yeah, that's
and when you
true.
think about it, it's you're looking at maybe 2 months, and then it's back into it, and you're going to be talking a lot more hockey when things start percolating here in a little while. The GMs, most of them, this is their vacation time for 2 weeks. Then they get back at it, so good things will start to happen, and we'll be able to look forward to reading the news about the Leafs and hockey again.
Speaking like a true coach. Thank you, Bruce.
All righty, take care.
There you have it. Bruce Boudreau, our TSN hockey analyst, former Jack Adams Award winner, on the state of affairs when it comes to the Red Wings, the Maple Leafs, and everything around the NHL. We're going to take one more break. Our best bets are coming up. Plus, we'll check in on the Open Championship, which is happening over at Royal Birkdale. As OverDrive continues on TSN 1050, TSN 4 and 5 in the TSN app.
Sunday. This is the moment on TSN 1050. The finals kick off as Spain takes on defending champion Argentina. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. The world's biggest stage. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Well, we touched on England losing at the World Cup, although they still do have to play this weekend in the
it's tough.
The third place game that nobody wants to play.
Optional.
And they're playing it in the heat of Miami at 5 p.m. local time. Don't know who's suiting up for that one, but it could have been a huge weekend for that country, given the fact that the Open Championship is also going on at Royal Birkdale, which is, I know, a tournament that one of your favorites of the year.
Oh, yeah.
It is. We don't always say this. Hot there. It's like it's not, rainy and 10 degrees. Like
they're not wearing rain gear and toques as they normally do.
Yeah, balls are running, and looks like that's what we're gonna get for this weekend. So,
which is a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch today. It really is. It looks beautiful out there. That's a gorgeous golf course in the sand dunes of the northwest coast of England. And I think we're in for some serious golf because you got a lot of big names that have a chance here, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. How many of the courses have you gone to?
I've only covered the British Open at St. Andrews.
Okay.
Yeah.
You only go big.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I trust me. I'd love to get on the. I'd love to get on the rotation, or the Rota as they call it. But
the
I haven't been
Rota.
so lucky.
What is the Rota?
The rotation. You know how Britain.
Oh, I don't know if I've heard. Yeah, okay.
Like they call it university uni and call the rotation Rota, because too many syllables.
I'm just a simple guy.
I like it.
They invented the language. I mean, they can do with it.
Of course they can.
Where's the Open rank for you timing wise? I think it's my favorite major. Like I love waking up. Golf's already on.
Yeah.
You can just flick it on. Roll over
and
the couch.
in the sense of the year, the
perfect
Masters won, and then I feel like the U.S. and the PGA get lost a bit for me because there's so much going on.
Yeah. You're a tennis guy. There's tennis going on. I do the World Hockey Championship, so I think the PGA was on at the same time, and I had to fight Carlo Koliakovo to actually watch the hockey games that we were doing because we would have a monitor on that. He still did his job well. Don't worry, Carlo. It's and it always seems to be this week. If we not for the World Cup, this is a dead week. Yeah, and because of the way they've changed the schedule, people point out after Sunday, you got 8 months until the next major, right? You get 8 months till the Masters because they used to do the PGA in August and it was
got the FedEx Cup playoffs, which the PGA will build up as just as good as a major.
Real FedEx head over here. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's the reason they changed it. They wanted to make the playoffs more of a feature on the calendar. But I'm not sure people see it that way, right? Like it really hasn't changed the view of the majors and what's important. And so, I'm with you, Keegan. Like there's nothing better than making a coffee and at an early hour, however early you can tolerate getting up. Although I heard today there was apparently not Bell. The people that are Bell subscribers, our parent,
we're fine
here. We're in good shape. You could watch the Open all you wanted to.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Some of their dastardly competitors did not have the Open on their services, and that was a major, major shock to golf fans around this country.
Mm-hmm. And just in terms of the leaderboard, Scotty Scheffler is at -2. Rory McIlroy is at +2. Nick Taylor's also at -2. He's the leading Canadian. It's him and Corey Connors.
Played great today.
But I brought McIlroy and Scheffler because during the break we were talking about the questions that they were asked a couple of days ago about. They made sure to point out when you're dead, how do you want to be remembered? And McIlroy took it as a very I don't know, man. I'll be 6 feet under. I really don't care. It's the old legacy question that I'm sure you've asked before.
The legacy question. I might just lead off hot with that pregame Friday, John. When you're dead.
Or you could be like, hey, Vladdy, when you're dead, are you going to remember the fact that you were only hitting 700 OPS in 2026?
How will you remember that?
That's when his translators are like, he doesn't understand.
Yeah, cut it.
Yeah.
But I liked how Rory handled it with exasperation, which is probably the right way to do it.
So there you have it. This golf report is driven by Subaru. With the Subaru, you get more standard features than you'd expect and great lease and finance offers you won't want to miss. Hurry to your local Subaru dealer today. Been a great show. Keegan, always great to have you
Happy
on
to, guys.
OverDrive. But you're back at the ballpark tomorrow.
We're back. Dream's over.
Full house, probably.
Number 1, make the All-Star break a week, okay? Number 2, yes, I will be back to work tomorrow.
Yes.
But, yeah, full house, guys. Big White Sox series. The Rays series beginning Monday. That's the one. That determines the trade deadline, I think.
Am I a terrible father for taking my kids to their first Blue Jay games next week, and they're facing the Rays?
That's going to be tough.
Right? Like that's going to be a sour taste.
You're going to spend $700 to have a tough night.
Well, I didn't pay that much. I'm smart enough
Hey, you haven't bought food yet. Come on now.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Be careful.
Yeah, but the Rays are just doesn't matter this season.
It's tough.
So, awesome stuff as always. You and I are back tomorrow, so we'll be chatting. We'll get set for that series against the White Sox, the Open Championship. Maybe the Leafs and Raptors will do something. So, looking forward to that. As OverDrive will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m.